This video is brought to you by Scout's Eyes. If you're a talented footballer and you want to get yourself in front of a scout, visit Scout's Eyes right now or click the link in the description.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Full-Time Show. I've got myself in the building alongside Frank, who's beaming off the back of Arsenal's very convincing 3-0 win away at Brighton at the Amex. I've got to say it was a very impressive performance. Just before we kick things off, I'll give you the stats. Arsenal 3, Brighton 0, or Brighton 0, Arsenal 3, as I said. Bukayo Saka with a penalty in the 33rd minute. Kai Havertz, 62 minutes. And Leandro Trossard against his old club in the 86th minute. Let's have a look at the stats on that game, because I think it will confirm that Arsenal were indeed very worthy of their 3-0 win. I can't bring up the stats on my phone.
100%, Laurie. I think it was quite convincing. I think what you'll find is, it came as quite a surprise to me actually, but Brighton ended up with the most possession. I think Brighton ended up with about 54% possession, so obviously our 46, but apart from that, it was a one-way show from Arsenal in terms of the stats. And do you know what? I thought, looking at the run of fixtures that we had, it was definitely one of the more awkward games in the calendar going into the last 10 games. And, I think it was a real professional performance from the Arsenal, and I'm absolutely over the moon about that. I think what was the stat that I found earlier about it was something insane.
Well, I'll give you one straight off the bat. Shots on goal, Brighton 10, Arsenal 20.
Yep.
Shots on target, Brighton 2, Arsenal 7. And okay, yes, Brighton shaded it in terms of possession, but as we always say in football, it's not having the ball, it's what you do with it. And I've got to say that for me, Arsenal looked pretty comfortable in that game. So even when Brighton had the ball and they were, knocking it about quite nicely and looking threatening at times, I never really felt in threat.
No, absolutely.
Scoring.
Absolutely.
And,
I've just found the stat here. Arsenal haven't trailed for a single minute in any of their 11 Premier League games in 2024. Their longest run of games without falling behind in the competition since a run of 12 between February to May 2005. It just feels like, regardless of what happens this season, whether we win the league, whether we win the Champions League, whether we don't win the league, whether we don't win the Champions League, it just feels like, I'm a younger Arsenal fan. I only sort of know the FA Cups, but it's more a question for you as an older Arsenal fan. It must feel like we've got our Arsenal back.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, listen, the City performance escalated my confidence, and I'll tell you why. Even though we didn't win that game, we went to Man City in the cauldron. A lot of people were expecting City to put it on us. A lot of people were expecting us to lose that game. We didn't. And just the way we played in that game, the way we handled the occasion. Yes, we weren't brilliant. Some people say we parked the bus. But listen, man, we kept them quiet. We came out there with a very creditable draw. And from then on, that showed me that this team has the right minerals, the temperament in which to win the title. And then today, similar. As you said, Frank, Brighton are a good team on their day. They're very good. And so it's a tricky type of game.
And they've proved it in the past. I think this is only the second time we've ever done the double over Brighton.
Yeah.
I think the first being in the 2020-21 season. So they've infamously been a really awkward team for us in the Premier League. And you even go back to last season where they absolutely battered us 3-0 at the Emirates. And I think the title hope was all but over by that point. But it just shows that we've come on leaps and bounds from even last season. And it just shows the level of ability within this Arsenal team. And, to pick up this level of form right at the end of the season, a crunch time in a way, it fills me with confidence, Laurie.
Absolutely. I mean, we needed a good performance, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I think I said it earlier on the stream that we did. Shout out to everybody that watched the stream. Since the 6-0 smoking of Sheffield United, I think we played 4 games. The Brentford game, the Porto game in the Champions League. Then we went to City, and we had Luton at home, and now Brighton today. So that's 5 games, actually. So if you look at those games, I think it's fair to say that since that Sheffield United, in terms of performance, even though we've been winning, and obviously we drew City, the performances weren't what I would call outstanding, but we did enough to get the job done. Yeah,
absolutely.
But today now, we came out against a tricky side at home who were up for it. And let's be honest, man, we beat them with something to spare. So for me, that's very impressive. But enough of me. People out there, you've seen it. Download the app. Let us know what you think. I think we've already got a caller on the line.
Yep, Michael.
Hello,
Michael.
Resplendent in his black Arsenal top, same as mine.
I refuse to wear that radioactive zebra top. I'm sorry.
No, you know what? I've got that. I actually quite like that top.
It's okay.
Yeah, I bought that one. It's one of those
No.
it grows on you. But anyway,
Yeah,
enough of that.
I know. Okay, quick things. First off, Gabriel needs more protection against the yanking on the shirt. Like every game he gets pulled back by some guy, and I don't even mind that we're not getting the penalties. I mind that he's not scoring the headers that he's being pulled back from.
It's the only way to stop him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think refs let it go because he's so big and strong. Like it's not a foul because he's so powerful.
Yeah.
But I think it's costing us a lot of goals over the season. And I think it's something Arteta needs to complain about more.
It's an
And if he
interesting
doesn't, I will. Yeah.
You know what it is with Gabriel, though? I think because he's, let's face it, he enjoys the so-called physical side of the game. So I think sometimes referees will subconsciously think, well, 6 of one, half a dozen at the other, because Gabriel loves to get involved in that way. But you are right. He does get his shirt pulled a lot.
Yeah.
And you're right
Yeah.
also in that he had that brilliant chance at the start of the game there, which I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. When you watch it back, it looked like the keeper did just enough to put him off. But I think you should still have got the header on target, but there you go. But other than that, Michael, do you agree with myself and Frank that A, Havertz was man of the match, and B, that today was a very good team performance? So although Havertz was man of the match, you could say he was outstanding, but I thought the team as a unit played ever so well today. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I've figured something out about Havertz, okay? I think that Havertz is on the spectrum. That he's like a high functioning neurodivergent guy. And I don't mean that as a criticism. I really think, like James was speaking last time about how he can solve these complex geometric puzzles very quickly, but it's like he doesn't have always the physical motor skills in order to like convert it. And I just see that happening now, that Havertz, like we need someone like that. We need someone who's like ever so slightly neurodivergent in the attack, because like it adds like an interesting level of mechanics to the fluidity of everybody else. And like even on the goal that he scored, like he can't manage to score without crashing into the post, And I honestly think that it comes from the fact that his motor skills are much different than the fluid movement of most other players. And I like to see it. Like if we know how to use it right, it's going to work the way it did today.
I'll tell you what I did notice about that goal that Havertz scored was that when he made the run into the box, he was quite cute in the way he did a little decoy and then he got in between the two defenders.
Very clever run.
And then obviously when he got the ball, he finished it. So I thought that was quite clever from him there. I thought overall he had a good game. I think the thing with Havertz is I think he's now found his position in the team. Because you think about earlier in the season, we tried in a few different positions, wasn't that fortuitous. But then in the absence of a striker that was scoring on a regular basis, they tried him in that false nine position. And I've got to say, he's been a revelation since he's been there. Or if not a revelation, he's been really good. Frank, you got anything on it?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we go from Brighton to Bayern in midweek, a massive one in the Champions League, the quarterfinals. The first time we've been in the quarterfinals in, I believe, is it 14 years since our last quarterfinal match? Obviously, on the topic of Kai Havertz, there's a lot of questions being asked at the moment in terms of how we look starting going into that game against Bayern Munich. Are we at the point now where we accept that Kai Havertz is going to be the 9? And obviously I think he's there on merit at the moment, but would you be tempted with the idea of potentially putting Gabriel Jesus up there instead?
No, I mean, I think Jesus did a good job. He bought the first penalty, but I like him better on the wing. I don't think we need a fluid player as the number 9. We need someone like Havertz who's big and tall and moves in such a strange way that no one knows how to mark him. I think the fluidity of I mean, to put Jesus as a fluid number 9 assumes that he's going to score the goal in a completely solo way. And that's not what we need. The fluidity is coming from Odegaard and Saka and everybody else moving around the number 9.
There is
how I take it. Yeah.
There is a school of thought. Some people, such as Turkish, no less. Shout out to Turkish. He suggested that with the Champions League games, because they're slightly nuanced, Jesus might be a better option up front. But I would tend to agree with you, Michael, that the way Havertz is playing right now and the way the team is playing, it seems to work. So for me, I think it would be foolhardy to change it at this stage. Frank, what do you think?
No, absolutely. I think you don't fix what isn't broken at the end of the day. And whilst I probably would have gone... I think today was a good opportunity to see what I believe to be our, when fit, best midfield three, with Thomas Partey, Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice. Ahead of the Bayern Munich game, obviously we've only really seen it for about 15 minutes in that home game against Manchester City. I think today would have been a good opportunity to see that midfield three ahead of the game against Bayern Munich. If it worked, then it would have been a no-brainer for Bayern Munich. But with the way that Jorginho is playing at the moment, I would be quite happy still to see that midfield. I believe it will be against Bayern Munich. It will be Declan holding, Jorginho in the 8, and Odegaard in that attacking mid position. How does your midfield three look for the game against Bayern?
I see Arteta moving toward one of two different pairings, either Jorginho and Zinchenko or Partey and Kiwior. That you want one of those players to be like the stable force in back, and you want the other player to be creative. So, like, I think if Zinchenko is coming in from inverting, then we want someone like Jorginho to control the 6th position. But like, if we want Partey breaking the lines, better to have some guy like Kiwior who's a more solid defender.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean,
and the other thing I would say. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's your call.
The other thing I would say about Havertz is I think his improvement in form, most of it comes from the fact that he is individually playing better. But I also think that a lot of it is that the rest of the team has learned how to use him effectively. You know what I mean? You have different crosses coming into Havertz than they would put into Jesus, for instance. And like Jorginho's pass into Havertz on the second goal is a great example of that. He would never have made that pass if Jesus was the number 9. And I think that Havertz is flourishing because the rest of the team is learning how to use him.
No, I think that's an excellent point you make there, because there's no doubt about it. If you look at it incrementally, he's got better and better and better. And people like myself, I was quite critical of, not overly critical, I think my criticisms were quite balanced, to be honest. Initially, at the start of the season, my criticism of Havertz, or my main criticism of him, was he wasn't imposing himself on the game enough. Now, he is, and you saw that today, the way he was winning tackles, winning headers, laying the ball off, making runs into the box. That is the type of performance that we were wanting to see from him earlier on in the season. We're now getting that. It could be a confidence thing. He's got his confidence. He feels part of the team. He's shown a lot of love by the manager. Shout out to Arteta for that. Arteta's always believed in him, and he was always seeking to make it work, and it's working. But in closing, Michael, we've got a few more people. I know you've got something for us.
Okay. Every something being blent together turns into a wild of nothing, save of joy. Strike me, give me a gash, put me to present pain, lest this great sea of joy rushing upon me drown me with its sweetness. Top of the league. See you next week.
Love
Thank
that.
you very much,
Absolutely
bro.
love that.
Respect.
Thank you,
care.
Michael.
Right, yeah. We got Dino on the line.
How's it going, fellas?
I'm good, man.
Absolute pleasure. Laurie, pleasure talking to you.
And you, bro.
Well, yeah, man, absolute pleasure. Yeah, what do you guys want to ask me, or should I start?
First thing I'm gonna, because I'm not familiar with your face. Forgive me if you've called in before and I missed it, but it's the first time I'm speaking to you, I think. Let us know where you're calling from, sir.
So I'm calling from New York City.
Oh wow, yeah, I love New York, man. I've got family over there in Queens. Been to New York several times. One of my favorite places in the whole world. I love New York, man. Love New York.
Funny thing, I wanted to meet you guys when you were here. I didn't get the opportunity, but I do know you guys were in New Jersey. I didn't get the opportunity to because I had to work.
Yeah.
But definitely when you guys come back, I'm going to make some time. We're playing preseason in Vegas or something?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Vegas, so this would be a perfect trip.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, Vegas is another great place. Not as good as New York for me, but hey, man. Yeah. But big up my family. They live off Hempstead Avenue, Long Island.
Big up. I'm Jamaican as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of Jamaicans in New York.
There you go.
You know how that goes already.
The performance today, Brighton 0, Arsenal 3. What's your thoughts on the game?
I think we did a professional job. I got to tip my hat off to Arteta because he's trusting the defense. Yeah. We have the best defense in the world. I'll say it again. The best defense in the world. Not just in Europe, not just in the Premier League. We stopped Haaland from scoring the other day. Twice. We stopped the most dangerous team from penetrating in any way, shape, or form the other day, having 70-odd% possession of the ball. I think it's time, full time, we start backing Arteta, we start trusting Arteta, and we start trusting the team. I think Gabriel had another phenomenal game. You know, you could see the passion at the end of the game, toward the end of the game when he made that block. You could see the passion. You could see how much it means to them to keep. It's like a goal. It's like a goal. You know, and how often do you see that passion from a defense? What's it, 4 or 5 clean sheets? On the bounce right now?
5 consecutive away clean sheets. They're only the second time ever that we've done it.
You know what that reminds me of, right? Talking of what you just said there and the fact you're from New York. I remember back in the day, me and my brother used to make it a little homage when we went to New York to watch the Knicks at the Garden. And I remember the first times I used to go there, whenever there was a great defensive play, the crowd would break out and defense. And at the time, that was kind of new to me. I was like, right, you know what? But yeah, when you saw Gabriel do that block today, and you know what I mean, the way he celebrated that, and then the rest of the team came over and they were high-fiving, they were genuinely happy for him, man. I thought, yeah, that's great, man. That's great to see.
This is the foundation of every championship team. This is championship DNA is what this is, Laurie.
Yeah.
Absolute championship DNA. Once you build a defensive structure and you realize teams are not able to penetrate you, now the rest is on for the rest of the team. Even Gabriel, he had a few. He had a header. I do remember he had a header in the first half. We could sit here and criticize, but players are gonna miss chances, right? Gabriel's a defender. He's fairly good in the air, but players are going to miss chances, right? Now, when you do take advantage of those chances, you have such a solid defense back there that, not to say play dangerously and just allow the opponents to keep coming, because that's dangerous, but at the same time, we have such a solid defense back there that listen, it's going to win us games. And this season, that's going to be the reason why we win the championship.
You make an excellent point. I mean, like you said, when we played City, I think at times they were registering over 70% possession in that game. They never looked like breaking us down. Brighton, again today, they had the majority of the possession. We had more shots on target and more shots on goal than them, but they had more possession of the ball. But as I was pointing out to Frank, it's all right having a ball, it's what you do with it. And today, I got to say, man, I mean, I'm not being wise after the event. I actually said it on the stream, that I thought Arsenal looked fairly comfortable. You know what I mean? Brighton are a good team, but, you know what I mean, we made them look a bit toothless up top. I mean, Danny Welbeck got subbed off, and he hardly had any touches in our box.
Agent Welbs.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
Great performance.
When's the last time, Laurie, when is the last time you've seen this team with so much chemistry? When's the last time you've seen us work this well together? Every single player out there, I support my guys, from Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, it doesn't matter. I think everyone puts in this, and football, I think people tend to forget it is a team sport. Absolutely. So every player that goes out there plays a pivotal role in the victory. No matter how you feel about that player personally, we support the player because we support the team. And whoever that player is, we want that player to do well. Kai Havertz is no longer a Chelsea player. Jorginho is no longer a Chelsea player. They are Gunners because they're doing better for the Gunners than they've ever done for those guys over there.
Yeah, you know what? And you're statistically right about that, especially with Havertz. But listen, bro, thank you very much for your call, man. Appreciate that. Big up to all the New York
Thank you, guys.
Big up New York.
And
big up. Steve, Laurie, it's an absolute pleasure.
Steve.
Take care, guys.
Respect. Nice one. Great call.
Oh, sorry, Frank.
Steve.
Frank.
Where we got Steve from? That's a new one.
Steve Frank at that.
That's the only thing you got wrong today. Everything else was totally on point. Respect, man.
That's the new name.
One. Right, who we got next?
I think we got Ryan next.
Ryan,
you remember my name, don't you?
Big up Frank.
There we go.
There's no way I could forget your name, Frank, man. You're one of the originals, man. Yeah. Listen, Laurie as well, big up yourselves, man.
Yeah, man.
Listen,
Nice
I haven't been on this for a while. Man.
yeah,
I haven't been on the Man City.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I haven't been on the Man City or the Luton roundup. I've just been doing a lot of overtime and I was at work. But I thought, let me call in today, man. But listen, I think it's fair to say, like Arsenal have brightened up our evenings, man. Like, yeah.
I like it, yeah, definitely. But you know what it is as well, talking about Bright, I think I might sue BBC weather, man, because this morning when I went on the BBC app, they were saying that the weather was going to be 20 degrees. They were saying it's going to be the hottest day of the year so far. It's been anything but, you know what I mean? It's been raining, it's been cold. But anyway, like you said, Arsenal brightened up our day. For you, who were the standout performers? Who was your man of the match?
I was very impressed with Trossard, and I think it doesn't even go without to say I mentioned Saliba and Gabriel right now for me are the two best centre backs in Europe right now in the world at the moment. I think it was the first caller who touched on it.
Yeah, our last caller said that it was the best defensive side in the world, and statistically, he's probably right.
Yeah. And I think right now it's a big statement I'm going to make because overall I do think Van Dijk does hold that shield, but Gabriel right now has gone very underrated. I feel Saliba overall on his technical quality, I'd say is better than him, but Gabriel for me has been better than Saliba so far in the games that I've seen Arsenal play this season, and that's credit to Mikel Arteta because you look at how he set us out structurally compared to last season. We were conceding one or two late goals in certain games, going into being in the title race with Man City, and then obviously we all know what happened towards this time last year, towards the last 10 games. Because I was watching the game on Sky Sports, and the commentator, I just watched Bukayo Saka's interview after the game, and they must have interviewed him. They right at this stage last season, obviously we played West Ham, and for me, when he took that penalty, it was a great bit of skill from Gabriel Jesus to get away from Lamptey. I just thought to myself, I always get a little bit of PTSD watching Arsenal at times. You're thinking, please, man, not deja vu again. Don't strike twice on our slot again. Yeah. But then when I saw Saka slot it, I said to myself, I've never seen us look so comfortable throughout a whole 90 minutes of football. And I just thought to myself, we made Brighton look pretty toothless. Welbeck had to get substituted. Yeah, I mean, our team is making opposition managers put their star players on the bench. I mean, De Bruyne and Haaland didn't even start against Villa during the week, man. But I know it's a heavy workload right now with Premier League games. But I just think it's a long time in a while where I genuinely love every single player in this team at the moment, and long may it continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I know you mentioned a few names there, and obviously I agree that they all play fantastic. I can't help but notice that you missed out one name. He contributed to a goal and an assist today. Kai Havertz, man of the match?
Havertz. I would say just about, I would say, cause there's one or two other man of the matches you could easily name as well, Frank, because in that first 20 minutes when I was watching, we should have been, let's keep it real, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up. Literally in the first 20 minutes, but it's that clinical and ruthlessness that Arteta has installed into a lot of these guys today. And one thing I do want to say about Kai Havertz, he's since the bye break, I'll say, since we've come back, he's been a breath of fresh air. But I'd say he has stepped it up since these last 3 games. Because I'll be real, in these last 3 games against Porto, Man City, and Luton, I haven't really been impressed with him in those last 3 games, but I think we've now showed a performance.
I think that's fair.
I think we've now showed a performance today where we beat West Ham 6-0. We battered Burnley. We were putting teams to the sword since beating Liverpool as well. And I think in our last Man City away at the Etihad is always going to be one of the toughest grounds in the Premier League. So I knew he wasn't going to blow them away. But the Luton game I thought was a bit underwhelming during the week. I knew it would have been quite tough, but I thought to myself, when we were 2-0 up, 3 or 4-0 up the goal, I'm looking at goal difference right now, man. I thought to myself, Liverpool are going to smash Sheffield United during the week, and then next thing you know, the goal difference is like 3 or 2 goals within it. But credit to the boys, man. I'm so happy with Arsenal right now. I can't stress how much. Listen, I hate Man United with a passion, but I think it's fair to say we're all United supporters tomorrow, man, because we need them to do us a favour, lads, man.
United.
Yeah, we do, but
I wouldn't go
at the
that
same
far,
time,
That's going to get clipped.
Yeah.
at the same time, it's very much in our hands. If we win all our games, then, you know.
What do you? How can I put it to you guys? I was quite surprised that Arteta didn't go with a midfield three of Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, because I'm a strong believer, and I speak to my guys in my group chats, and I think I even said it to Deanie when I saw him at the Big Six did this thing in Shoreditch a few weeks ago, and I was speaking to Deanie about it. For me, our best front three is Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, and Partey is that type of player that. Are we going to see the best of Partey if he's not in a consistent rhythm and flow of games? Because I feel like Partey is one of those players that he almost needs to be in a rhythm. And I know we got a team could have squad a little bit and rotate with the fixture congestion coming up within this month and next month. But I just feel like I genuinely want to see, I think our whole fan base want to see him and Rice play at least 4 or 5 games on the spin. Yes, he might not have the fitness levels to possibly do that now, but if it's not going to happen now, like... When are we going to see that?
I think you might see him against Bayern Munich. Whether he starts or not, I'm not so sure, but I'm pretty sure we'll see him. But listen, bro, we've got to move on because we've got a couple more calls. But listen, Ryan, thanks very much for your call.
Big up Frank and Laurie each and every time. Big up the production team and everyone, man. You lot are doing a good job.
Thank you very much, bro. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Thanks. Right, next caller. Yeah, there he is.
I'm waiting for him to move the hand so I can see the smile.
Live and direct from the T-Dot.
There we go.
Laurie, Steve, sorry, Frank, sorry, the Frank, sorry, Statman guy, sorry. I'm getting your name wrong all the time. I don't.
Everyone's doing it today.
Yes, the radioactive zebra is back. It is the Steve now. It is the Steve. Okay, we'll call you the Steve from here on in. The radioactive zebra is back, ladies and gentlemen. Back by popular demand, as they say. What shall we talk about today? We shall talk about how this team... Okay. I start out today by saying, you know, I was watching Sky and their Soccer Saturday team, and they voted Virgil van Dijk as the best defender in the Premier League. Today.
And you got
now, Lord knows they would do that. Yeah. Lord knows they would do that because there's no Arsenal voice in the room. They had 2 Man United supporters, they had a Liverpool supporter, and they had a Tottenham supporter in the room. So Lord knows we were going to get the gist they deserve. But again, we have proven to the world that we have the best defense in the world, bar none. And for us to be considered this year second and third best in the league is an absolute travesty, an absolute debacle, and they need to be investigated and checked for symptoms of some sort of psychosis.
So that poll that they did, is that for this season or is it just on rankings?
That was for this season. That was for this season.
Because that's clearly wrong.
Yeah.
Even statistically, that's clearly wrong.
If it was overall, I sort of understand where they're coming from. Because if you, whilst I think that Gabriel and Saliba are the best partnership in the world at the moment, I would still rank overall Virgil van Dijk above them in terms of ability. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
He doesn't.
I get that, but it was supposed to be on this year.
Yeah.
And by my estimation, Gabriel Magalhaes is the best defender in the Premier League this year.
Currently.
Bar none.
Whoa, you know what?
Currently,
it's either him or Saliba.
Thank you.
Exactly. So, you know.
What is Virgil van Dijk doing, number one? I don't know. But I realized then that there wasn't an Arsenal voice in the room. If Robbie was there again this week, Believe me, Gabriel will be number one by now. But again, he needs to behave.
Just move it on slightly. Who was your player of the match today?
Today, I would say player of the match. Yeah, I would give it to Kai. Kai is deserving of it. But again, listen. Getting back to our defense, and I hate to bring them up again and again.
No,
and again,
you feel free, bro. You know what I mean? It's your
Gabriel and William. I mean, Jesus, it's just it's like Morecambe and Wise. It's like Anton Deck without the annoyance. It is the perfect team that by far that we've ever seen, I would say, in our lifetimes, and I mean, just rivaling behind that of Campbell and Toure. But again, let's move away from them. I thought Jesus had a pretty terrific match. I thought that the likes of Gabriel Jesus was excellent today. I would say he was very good.
Yeah, I think the whole team played well. And I did a FANZONE after the game where I was talking about the importance of teamwork, and I was saying that there's that phrase, talent win games, teams win titles. And today, I thought all round we looked really good. Even David Raya, he wasn't called upon to make many saves, but there was one save he made in the second half that was outstanding. So even when he was called upon, he was more than up to the task, and you can't ask for more than that. But I've got to cut you a little bit short there, bro. I want to ask you quickly, how confident are you for the Bayern Munich game?
I've always been confident. We're going to win on Tuesday. I'm always been confident. Bayern don't scare me.
Yeah. No, I believe you, man. You to be fair to you, you've always backed your talk like that, so respect.
No, little bro done grown up.
Got to move on, man.
Little bro done grown up.
Yeah, respect, man. Big up the T-Dot Massive as well. Hopefully speak to you after we beat Bayern on Tuesday.
Take care, Elliot.
I will be around, boys. Thank you.
Respect. Thank you very much. Right, we got Deanie.
Deanie!
What's going on, Frank? What's going on, Laurie? We all good?
Yeah, I'm all right, man.
So much
I'm buzzing after that
3
performance, to be honest.
Good. Buzzing as well.
The reason why is just because I was saying when we did the watch along, I said, look, okay, we're still going great guns, but since the Sheffield United game, I think the performances have not been stellar. And when I said that, I wasn't trying to be overly critical. I wasn't finding something to be critical about. I was just speaking matter of factly. If you look at the performances since the Sheffield United game, namely Brentford, Porto, City, and Luton, although we've won the majority of those games, got a very good result against City, the performances weren't as convincing had they been prior to Sheffield United. But I thought today, man, 3-0 didn't even flatter us. I thought you were outstanding today. What's your thoughts?
No, I generally agree. The only thing I'll say about the Man City game, the only reason why I allow that is because how long was the break in between the Porto game and the City game? Was it about 10, 13 days?
Yeah.
So it was like we had a much longer break off. Yeah, it was about 3 weeks off. So it was a much longer break, and then that being the first game back. Yeah. Obviously, winning the game was the main thing, but I wasn't expecting the greatest performance because we had like 3 weeks in between. So that might be the one caveat I'll say against that.
Definitely a mitigation.
Definitely. But anything else, I absolutely agree, and especially with today, because even before Saka got the penalty, we could have been 3-0 up with Gabriel's header, Saka just past the post, and even, I don't know how Jesus missed the whole goal with the header. I didn't understand how he did that, but he did somehow he did. And even and Frank, you said it, you literally just said it, before Saka took his penalty, even I was just like, hold on, we've been there before. Please just put this in the back of the net, please, because even last season it was West Ham. We was 2-0 up. If Saka puts it away, it's 3-0 game done, but they come back. So it's like, can you do it again? It's still high pressure, different pressure compared to the Euro penalty, this, that, and the other, and you have to do it. And they did that. And even after that, we didn't get out of second, third gear, and we still won the game pretty easily. And that's exactly what we need right now. We want to be winning games and looking comfortable. We want to be looking comfortable as champions. We want to be looking comfortable. What Dino said, big up Dino, what Dino said about championship and defenses, absolutely. We know that defenses win titles and having that main structure. Even if we forget talking about championship teams, let's just talk about a house for a second. If the house doesn't have a solid foundation, it can look as beautiful. Yeah, if it looks as beautiful and needs to on the top, if it hasn't got that solid foundation, it can sink in any moment. And that's something we're not doing right now. We're not sinking anymore. We're not sinking as a team. We're actually standing strong. Sorry, Frank.
Deanie, just on the defence point, obviously I think it's quite clear that Ben White, Gabriel, William Saliba, they're going to be playing for the rest of the season. Yeah. But one thing I want to talk about, and this is not me saying he played terribly at all today, but it's this man. We've got quite a big game.
Zinni.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on this left-back situation? Because obviously, no Timber, we understand that. In my personal opinion, I think out of the three options that we've got, Tomiyasu is probably the best option.
Yes.
Has had limited minutes, obviously. Yeah. Kivior's probably there on merit at the moment. And then you've got Zinchenko that's just coming back and has played, obviously, I don't think he played full. He didn't play full 90 today, but played today.
No.
Who do you have in for that game against Bayern Munich? Because like I said, he didn't play terribly today, but it wasn't the performances that the likes of Tomiyasu and Kivior have been putting in by any means.
Honestly, for that game, I would start Kivior. I'd actually start Kivior. If Tomiyasu hadn't... Yeah, absolutely on merit. And if Tomiyasu hadn't been injured when he came back from the Asian Cup and he's been playing football, I would have said Tomiyasu straight away. Absolutely straight away. Because I love Zinchenko. And I had to think to myself today, am I worried about this game only because Zinchenko's at left back and he might be the only person that could cause us a problem in this game? And I had to ask myself that. But then again, I'm thinking, no, there's a whole rest of the team, and Zinchenko is a brilliant player in himself. And it's just this, because I feel like, not that he's excited or I don't know what it is, but his heart's on his sleeve all the time. And sometimes if your heart's and you got all that passion in you, sometimes you're just blinded by what you need to do for the game. But yeah, I'll have Kivior against Bayern on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday, whichever day it is?
Tuesday. You know what it is with Zinchenko? I think today kind of epitomized his strengths and his weaknesses. Today there were moments when he inverted into midfield and he played some nice passes, linked up the play well.
And looked good.
And looked
yes.
And then there are other moments where there was those lapses of concentration where you think, come on now. So it almost depends on the opposition, really, doesn't it? As to whether Zinchenko plays or not. If it's a game where the manager feels that we're going to get a good amount of the ball and we need to attack, then Zinchenko would be your favoured option. If, on the other hand, it's a game where you're probably going to have to do a bit more defending than you would do normally.
100%.
And defence becomes, very crucial.
Yeah.
Then you might
then Zinchenko's mate. Yeah.
He's
not the guy.
Or Kivior.
The thing that concerns me about that in that case as well is if we do see Zinchenko in the starting 11 for that game, then you've got to be Serge Gnabry, Leroy Sané, and Kingsley Coman have got to be licking their lips, surely.
And you know what the thing about that is, because I'm not sure who said it today, who was saying it on the watch along, but against the left hand side wasn't working as hard as the right hand side, and that left hand side where Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus were. Gabriel Jesus needs to manage his minutes, and Zinchenko, we know he has a mistake in him. So like you just said, any of those players that will be playing on the right, that will be up against Zinchenko, will be targeting that position, absolutely targeting that position, and we don't want to go. And we don't want to come to the Emirates on Tuesday against Bayern and have a kamikaze moment. And if, for whatever reason, we're putting ourselves in a hole. We don't want to put ourselves in a hole for no reason at all.
See, I don't think Zinchenko's a natural defender. I think that if you go back to
he wants to be in the midfield.
Yeah, I think if you go back to his early playing days in Ukraine, you'll probably find that he was a midfielder or even a striker or a winger.
No, definitely,
even when he first signed for City.
But just moving on very quickly, because we've got to wrap things up. I know we touched on it. Bayern. Now we got this game out of the way, then we can focus now on Tuesday. Massive game against Bayern. Business end of the Champions League. First game at home. How confident are you that we can get a good result against Bayern, who, by the way, they lost today in their Bundesliga?
As well.
Very against the team, because it wasn't Hoffenheim, it was another team that came up from the division last year.
And FC Eidenheim.
Haven't heard of them before, and that is crazy in itself. It's
I must
crazy
admit, I'm not
because
reading too much into
since
that.
the start of
You
the
know why?
year. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, just quickly. I'm not reading too much.
You're probably going to
into
say
that.
the same thing as me. Go.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
let's be honest, man, that German league is over for them, man. I'm not saying that. I mean, the fact that they were 2-0 up and lost 3-2 doesn't say a lot for them. But I do think it will be a.
Tuchel conceded it last week.
Yeah, and I think maybe in the back of the players' minds, they're already looking ahead. They shouldn't do that. They should be professional. However, I can't
agree.
but think that come Tuesday they'll be fully switched on. But do you think
They'll be ready?
Yeah. How do you think that game will go, and who do you think will win?
I'm in agreement with you. I'm absolutely in agreement with you, and I feel like for some reason these Bayern players will just step it up on Tuesday, and we just have to be just prepare for the worst. Just think that you're going to face the best Bayern team, and you have to be ready for that. But regardless of that, the reason why I'm confident about that game is simply because our form since the start of the year has been imperious. It's been absolutely imperious, and when you add Liverpool and Man City into that form from the year, we've beaten one and drawn against them. We've taken 4 points against them. And if we're saying that those are two of the best teams in the world right now, even though Bayern aren't playing as well as they are still one of the best teams in the world, and they can actually turn up. But their form has not been great. Absolutely, still Bayern Munich. But right now, whatever's going on in that dressing room is just it doesn't seem like there's no chemistry, there's no connectiveness, and we have to prey on that. On Tuesday, we have to attack that on Tuesday. It's always that saying, they're a wounded animal and Bayern might come at us. But sometimes when an animal is wounded, it means they're hurt, and sometimes we just need to strike that knife in, because Bayern Munich struck 10 knives into us. 10 knives into us. I need that revenge. So, but in general, I do believe we beat Bayern on Tuesday.
Okay, that's a good way in which to wrap things up. Listen, bro, thank you very much for the call. And you must call back
every time
after the bye.
Thank you very much, Deanie.
See your thoughts. Right, we'll be back. Right, sorry about if Deanie got cut off rather abruptly there, but we are scratched for time. Closing thoughts, Frank.
Couldn't be happier. Very professional performance.
Nice way in which to,
60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again.
No, you know what? He definitely deserved this man of the match today. I mean, I think first and foremost, it was a great team performance.
Absolutely.
But I do think Havertz deserves man of the match. He got a goal, he made another goal, and I thought generally his football was very, very good today. And it's good to see him making an impression on the team the way we've been asking for him to do so for a while.
100%.
And I do agree, I don't know if it was Deanie or... No, it was Ryan who was saying that in the Luton game and the City game, and maybe even
he disappeared.
Yeah, he didn't have a
Absolutely.
good game, so it's almost like he was due one, and he bounced back in style today.
Yep.
I think he will start against Bayern, and let's hope he can continue that
Yeah.
good run of goal scoring form.
Absolutely. It's just a case of, who misses out. Who misses out someone's got to miss out, and for me it's got to be Gabriel Jesus, because I don't think we can go into that game starting without Martinelli.
Well, when I say a lot of people, there's quite a few people I know, Turkish being one of the main ones, who advocates for Jesus, because he was saying, and I do see where he's coming from, that in Champions League games, Jesus is suited to that type of football.
Absolutely, I get that.
So it'll be interesting to see when that team sheet comes out on Tuesday night, who starts. But I think whoever plays, it's such a big occasion. The crowd is going to be on point. The whole night is going to be electric. And I actually think we can beat Bayern by a couple of goals. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not in their greatest moment.
Yeah.
I do think, it's not going to be easy. They've got Harry Kane, no less, who I rate very highly. In fact, I would go as far as to say that Harry Kane is the best number 9 in the world.
I'm sure
scored again today,
I'm sure Haaland would have something to say about that. But
yeah. Now listen, man, two quality guys, but on edge, I think overall as a players, I think Harry Kane nicks it for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Haaland is a beast, but I think Kane is a better footballer.
Of course. I understand what you're saying about the Bayern game as well, but it's not just the Bayern game we have to look at. The way I summed it up in my fan cam, which should be out soon, I believe, 9 cup finals to go.
Yeah,
potentially more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Still a long way.
But listen, Frank, thank you very much for your contributions, not just here, but also on the info station.
Got my name right, which is nice.
Which you always do with aplomb, and you did so today. Thank you very much for all the people who called in today. Thanks to all the people who support the channel and continue to support the channel, all the people who sent in your comments. Keep it locked and loaded on AFTV, as I like to call it, the one-stop shop for all Arsenal content. Thank you very much. See you guys on Tuesday. We are out.